What's up, everybody? We are back. John Delarose here, delarose.com. That's DELARROZ.com. And you can go to the newsletter in my description and get a free graphic novel, which is the start of my main Flying Sparks series. If you like that, you can continue on. It's on Amazon, or you can contact me and I can send you signed books or whatnot. Whatever works for you. I just want to get you guys reading. Speaking of reading, I have not read any Ditko work in a while, so I like this 32 series because this is his latest work, at least in collected edition, and this goes from like 2012 to 2014 in this era. Really cool stuff, and so I've been reading through it. This is the fourth of 5 of these, and they're kind of thick collections. I think they're close to 200 pages around there. Each one of these collects 6 issues of his sort of self-published comics during this era. And so I like collected editions. I never got the issues of this. It was nice to go through all of this and keep going. So cool stuff. This one volume is called Postshadowing, as it's getting towards the very end of his career here, and we get some familiar characters. So in volumes 1 through 3, he introduced a lot of different characters, like the Madman, who we start with here. And I gotta say, you know, as much as I want to praise everything 100%, at this point, like, since I've read the first 3, the Madman and the Zane, a prosperous small city in the 1930s, every single story pretty much starts in a random prosperous small city or town or whatever in the 1930s and has that exact same aesthetic. The Madman does kind of the same thing. He fights with the mob as he's done before. So if you've kind of read these before, you kind of have read these before. And that's unfortunate for this sort of thing. So it's fine. If you just started here, this is your first Madman, you probably are enjoying it for the most part. But yeah, it's always a mobster who's always trying to get rid of somebody who's kind of like not performing, or is going to be a whistleblower, or is causing trouble for them in the law or the media or something like that. And sometimes there's a crooked DA or something like that. They're all very, very similar once you see them. But where this shines, and where I really wish there was more of this, is actually his like commentary on fandom, or commentary on the comic industry, things like that. These little comics, you see the look, boy, oh boy, it's him. And you see these like super bug-eyed out people who are, this is exactly how comic fans act. The celebrity! And this is great stuff right here. When I read this stuff, and you can tell he's just so passionate about these ideas, and he's right about these ideas, more importantly, just how much the toxic fandom just like wants to know everything about the celebrity, like, how much they pick their nose in the morning. It's crazy. And then, of course, all they do is complain once he actually does do his show. Why not do this? It isn't original. Who did you swipe from? And I did just complain that like this wasn't original, so I'm guilty. But what can you do? And I do got to give it to Steve Ditko. If he wants to draw this, God bless him. I'm glad he drew this. So I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying, you read one, kind of feels the same. But the difference, my favorite one I think out of all these characters is the cape. And this is like a magical cape that kind of flies around. And it always, like, what it does is it envelopes a person who's going to do something bad. I'll destroy him, as you can see. And it takes him to this like weird alternate reality world where weird things happen. And it's always very different every single time. And that's what's really cool about the cape compared to like the Madman, is these stories do feel different for each of them. And really love that. The hero ones are almost the most, sort of, I'd say redundant out of the others. He comes up with a new villain for the hero to fight, which is great. And actually love the designs of the villain. I think he does something neat and different on this level every time. But again, very similar backgrounds and what's going on with the mob and, what's going on this front. The hero is a very beautiful character design also. Steve Ditko really shows, because, it almost seems on some panels that he really doesn't even try to fill in the lines very much. It's almost just like a sketch in some ways. But when he gets into drawing the hero, by contrast, he actually he shows that he's still got the chops and can do it if he wants. So it's very, very interesting contrast between panels here. you look at the action though, the way that he does action and just shows them being mowed over like bowling pins, just very dynamic, very good stuff. So the hero stuff is very, very simple, is what it is. You get these little fight scenes that take a couple pages in all of them, and that's that. So we got the outline, another character. The outline's another cool, fun character. I think probably the second funnest to the cape out of all of these. And he kind of just like is the angel or devil on your shoulder, and he sees people doing evil, or he sees people doing good, or whatnot, and he tries to push people in a certain way. Like, he wants evil to stop, but he also knows that evil will self-destruct if it's pushed to a certain extent to do what their actual master plans are. And so he sometimes encourages them. So these are two mobster guys who are fighting each other, and he's like, let's go, guys. Use force on each other. And then eventually they kill each other. So very interesting. And again, like, I just love it because there's a deeper philosophical comment there about the way that evil acts, and that makes it worth reading. And of course, you get some of these world sick world drawings also. This is very timely. I mean, this is back from, gosh, 2012. Logic is racist discriminating. You know, people didn't put that out in the open all that much back then. This is like a very 2020 concept right here. And of course, he's mocking that. And way ahead of his time, Steve Ditko was in this stuff. Good stuff here. So that's the first issue. I'm just trying to highlight all the characters. I'll go kind of faster about this after this. This is Miss Erie. She's just kind of like creepy woman who's like, but she's like a investigator. You know, feels a little like Murder, She Wrote, but for some reason she looks really creepy to me. But in this one, she's investigating like this old woman's, you know, got people stealing from her basically. And 9-panel comics, very simple. There's not a lot of like background detail as to who the characters are. They're very much just tropes. And you know, it's like the old lady, the old nice lady is just the old nice lady, and the young people who are stealing from her are just bad people. They could be named anything. They could be anyone. And I know he intentionally did that. So it's very neat. The Miss Erie ones don't speak to me quite as much as some of the others, like the outline, as I mentioned. But this outline one actually had a different twist where he thought they were going to go in a bad direction, and then they didn't end up going in the bad direction, and ended up getting back together. And this is actually a relationship drama one, so it's very different than the others. It was very fun. The cape, and they do a couple short cape vignettes, which I actually like the short ones even better. And she just gets into this whole dotted reality thing, and she knows how to make a decision. Now this is just about making a decision and not about just fretting over a decision, being indecisive. Just go for it. And I really like this sort of moral because you know, indecisiveness causes lots of problems. More cape stuff. This one's called the Distorter, and this is a very bizarre one. And it literally distorts reality. So they go into this, once they go into their master plan, they get this weird reality that's into these like funky shapes. Very cool and different Ditko stuff. I think that's a new one. I don't think I saw the Distorter before this issue. I appreciate when he does new things. Cool. Yeah, more cape. Look out. More mobster sort of drama through this. Not a lot to say on that. More outlining. And then we get it back into commentary. Might is right. This is a neat one here. You get a couple commentary pages at the end of every one of these issues, and I actually look forward to those after getting through sort of the regular comic content. This is just like it's like a palate cleanser, you know? I really love it. Oh, absolutely cool stuff. The explanation question, E and I, as it is, he's done this one a couple times before, and it's a couple different, it ends up being this little hero dude who gets involved in the crime thing. The cape comes back again. you get this beautiful panel right here. These are Ditko. Whoops, I'm trying to get to the top of it. Ditko does this thing on close up on eyes where he just really draws like these pained individuals better than anybody in the whole comic industry. So I love it when I see that. There's not a lot of it in this volume because he does a lot of these like outliney kind of sort of rough sketch drawings, so you don't get a lot of his past. But again, he shows that he can do it. He can do whatever he wants, and you know, it's nice of him to give us a little taste of that. Oh, I love this. This is my favorite comic out of all of it. The Anti-Hero. Comic book fan man transforms into fan boy. This is just savage. I love it. The P mask. This one's fun. Another great concept. This started in volume 3, I think. And there's this like pop-up shop that gives masks to people, and it changes their personality. And it's like it's a metaphor for personality and putting on masks in, you know, not physical masks, but the way that we kind of change in different social environments and things like that. These are very nice stories, and I love reading those also. And basically, there's always a catch for when you go and put on your little fake mask. Really nice. The Pouncer with the Hero. Another just kind of silly superhero fare. Fun stuff. Quick. The Trapper. I don't remember if I saw the Trapper before. The Trapper guy really actually sucks people into him and literally traps their souls. So pretty fun. Nice little collage here. We're almost through. More Madman Seas, Zane, the Prosper City in the 1930s, and we get more mob fare on this. This is some commentary about like clergy and all that, and how they kind of try to get obedience. Something I don't agree with, but it's his own book. The Ripper, and the Ripper's got sort of Wolverine claws, and he just rips people to shreds. But the hero will take him down. Don't worry about it. This is a very nice, actually, design here. You got the Ripper actually kind of ripping the panel across things, and he loves to do these eyes and the commentary of the people in the background. And this was and he's got the rip going through all of this. This is beautiful stuff. The Trapper makes another return. Ian I back. Elsewhere. This is back onto the comments of the people. Comic book fans, publishers, editors, artists, did you take part? We inquire. He always hated the questions about comics. Very cool. And we're getting towards the end of this. Another Miss Erie story. Very similar to the other Miss Erie stories. And this is a really neat one. Look at this sort of doorway situation where this guy's trapped and he can't really get out. Very cool looking. The Exploder, who literally explodes and the hero takes him down. Pretty neat. So he does just invent some new villains for the hero to deal with throughout all of these. Again, in a perfect world, I would like a little more depth to all of this and a little more development, but it is what it is. And this is a commentary on anti-heroes in comics. They love the fans love the anti-heroes, and they end up ridiculous for these anti-heroes, and then they just start being idiots. And I love it. This is my favorite comic out of the whole deal here. Anti-everything. I'm even anti-anti. And it's so true. The comic fans go crazy on the internet like this. You see this and you laugh at these little Twitter discussions on comics. This is a fun outline. This is my favorite outline piece in this. The outline is going to get rid or start working on somebody who's talking real loud about, being awful. Kick them when they're down. And the outline's like, okay, I'm getting ready to act. And then the guy realizes he's being sarcastic. And he goes, phew, he had me going. That's a nice ending right there. I like that twist. So, and the last issue, the question mark exclamation point, our other hero here who kind of fights the mob, typically. I did a mistake. The E and I are two different, are two normal people who do not put on costumes. I said that the explanation point or whatever was them at the beginning of the issue. Sorry about that. The gray. So the gray is, remember, if the world is black and white in the philosophy of Ditko, everything is either 100% right or 100% wrong. So when you're gray, you're just shading yourself with wrong, and you become a quisling kind of evil. So that's what this is back in here. Really enjoyable stuff. Get another explosive silence. This is fun because almost all of his stuff has a lot of words to it. And so since this one, as the cops hunting down the guy, isn't, and then you see the mob go after the guy for protecting them just because he had the optic of violence here, right? And the mob never cares about anything except for the optics, and it kind of gets real sad through there. The mob does try to take down the hero more often than not. Awful. And a couple more commentary pages. So that's that. Yeah, like I said, I think the commentary stuff where it's like you can really tell the deep philosophy ends up a little more intriguing to me than the sort of standard superhero fare mob stuff. I get that Ditko really wants to show the superhero in its purest form against a villain in its purest form. But if you've read, volumes 1 through 3 of this, it starts to get a little repetitive is where we get through this. It's still better than almost every comic out there, and it's really sad that these, don't get more attention. They are available on Amazon, so it's pretty easy to find. I kind of recommend picking up the first one. I think there's some essays in there, and then there's some, that's where the characters really are new and start to get developed for the first time. This one, it's still fun, but, and I'm kind of lamenting getting towards the end, because I know there's only one more left. But like I said, the mob cities and the Miss Erie and what's the other one called? What's the other one called? The Madman and a couple of those just get a little bit stale compared to the early ones. And I know. But so I'll call this like a 7.5 out of 10. Looking forward to the last one to see what's going on. And thanks for tuning in for my 32 series reviews. See you guys soon.